Well, that was not what Rajasthan Royals wanted. After winning the toss, after not being sure and batting first eventually, Sanju Samson sees his side collapse to the lowest total batting first in this year's IPL. 118 is all they managed. They've been bowled out. Side 18 overs, an innings that had pretty much summed up by a run-out directed from the deep end, which would look like a score that could have ended in double digits, but for Trent Bolt's second highest score of that inning. So plenty to look back on as the Afghan spinners pick up 5 wickets for 39 in 7 overs between them. So Visit Saudi presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Time shall not ask questions of Amol, Muzumdar and Shaun Tait with regards to their pre-match prediction score.
Let's leave that.
Which in fairness,
move on.
Which I'll tell you why. Yeah. It's because even Sanju Samson said, I don't know what this pitch will do. And Hardik Pandya said, if the home captain doesn't know what it'll do, it's probably a good thing we're bowling first because we would have wanted a bat anyway. Now, did this pitch do so much that batting was so difficult, or is that just a really poor batting effort from Rajasthan? Amol?
I think poor batting from Rajasthan, a poor selection of shot. I can understand, first couple of wickets going down, but I want to pinpoint on Sanju here. This was an ideal time, ideal night to put up his hand and say that here I am. I'll dig in deep and take this game a little deeper than what he did. The choice of shot from Sanju Samson was much to be desired. He had already hit a boundary in that over. The Padikkal had hit a boundary, so they had covered the rate over there. But I think moving in and playing the chip shot, that wasn't the best of shots.
All right, yeah, that's fair. Sanju Samson, the stage was set perhaps for captain's knock with Jaiswal having run out. I wonder if that played on his mind as well. But what was this, exceptional bowling, really tough batting, or just disappointing?
Good bowl, disappointing batting, but it was good bowling. They did bowl well. The seamers bowled in good areas. Little was good lengths, hard to get away. The spinners, obviously, I think, Rashid Khan, every single ball on the stumps, attacking the stumps. Bowling a bit fuller, a good length this game as well. So just giving himself every chance to hit the stumps. But I think, the run out was not great. And I think, it's funny actually, in the pre-game, Nick Knight at the toss was, I had a bit of a giggle because it was so simple. He just said, I'd be bowling at the top of the stumps, and as a batsman, I'd be looking to play down the ground. And I thought it was quite funny. It was so simple, but he was right. It wasn't the wicket to be going across like Sanju probably did. It wasn't a bad batting wicket, but I think a simple game plan would have fared them better. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, are you surprised by the general challenging nature of the surface at Jaipur, which in the past has given us some runs also?
Yeah, I mean, if you see all three, 2.5 matches now at the Sawai Man Singh Stadium. First one was 154 were defended by Lucknow Super Giants, and then Rajasthan put up 200 on the board. I don't think there was any devil in the wicket.
Okay.
It was just in the mind. I think Rashid Khan and Noor Ahmed were all over in the minds of Rajasthan batsmen.
Yeah, all right, we must talk about the Afghan spinners. Let me just finish up a point on Samson. You worked with him closely. Can you, is he the kind of player who sort of assesses for himself? Sometimes you tend to think it's very difficult to tell Sanju Samson to play a certain way, but do you sense that's still part of a game that he needs to work on to assess challenging surfaces and conditions?
Well, absolutely. I think the game awareness, I think it was an ideal time for him to bat today. He got out in the 7th over where that shot wasn't required. And if I would be in the Rajasthan camp, I would be definitely having a word with him, saying that, at least you need to read that game a little correctly. I mean, it's not rocket science that Sanju Samson is a gifted player. He's got natural ability to hit the ball. He's got, great hands. That's I've been maintaining this. But he needs better game awareness.
Yeah. 2 of their big overseas guns are not firing. We spoke of Butler, and we're speaking of how this is perhaps one of his leanest seasons. Shimron Hetmyer, after that unbelievable 56 in the reverse fixture against the Gujarat Titans, has scores of 2, 3, 8, and what's he got today? 7. That's 5 single-digit scores. They rely heavily on their 2 overseas guns, and one of them is just not firing.
Yeah, the Butler's sort of, the pressure, is sort of on Butler now, for sure. Hetmyer's more the player that he needs a bit of a foundation, and then he's he's the cream on the top. You know, he's the guy that comes in and does hit the boundaries, clears the ropes, and does that pretty well. And we spoke at the start of the tournament about him going up the order, and they've managed to get him up the order a bit, but I just don't think he's had those runs behind him to play that with that freedom. He's having to go in and sort of knock it around a bit and try and get a score, try and get the team to for a reasonable score. That's not really the sort of play he is.
Do you think sense teams have figured out how to bowl to Buttler? He's getting caught a lot at that fly slip shot third.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go into the batting technicalities. You might be better suited to that, but no great footwork tonight. I'm not sure what the thinking might have been behind that, but it was just sort of wafting the bat out there. I thought the wicket actually went through all right for the seamers as well. It was a reasonable amount of pace there, and I just got caught out there. And as you said, they sort of set him up for it as well.
You know, sometimes when you're getting out in a particular fashion, in Butler's case, it's the ball that nips back in.
Yeah.
It gets bowled quite often, inside edge bowl, or even LBW quite often. Maybe when you're short of runs, you start thinking about it. Today was a case where Hardik Pandya bowled 2 in-swingers, and then he pitched 1 outside off stump, and then you waft at it.
Yeah.
You know, when the ball's, I mean, you get a little bit of width, you're thinking about this kind of dismissal, and then you waft at that ball. And I think that was the case today with Buttler.
Well, all right, that's fair on Buttler. Hetmeyer, is that a player who's short of confidence all of a sudden with 5 low scores? And I wonder if you would have liked to see him go in before what turned out to be a fairly ineffective use of the impact sub in Riyan Parag's case.
I would send Shimron Hetmeyer anytime, even before Ashwin. I don't know what that game plan is, and I'm still yet to figure it out, because we tend to see Ashwin being the floater in that batting order. He comes at number 3. Sometimes, you know, suddenly you will see him walk out, and you're all surprised. So I was surprised when he walked in today before Hetmeyer.
And would you have wanted that too?
Absolutely agree with that. I was going to, the Ashwin thing, I don't like that. I don't think it's necessary, especially in the situation they're in today. And the way and all due respect to him, he can bat, but the way he got out was almost like a tail ender getting out. I just think down the order, I think that's over-analysing things and getting too cute with the game. You know, I think, he's, like I said, he can bat, but maybe it's 7 or 8, or he's not top order batsman. Let's be honest.
Credit to the Titans bowlers. Now, there's nothing that we've seen from Rashid Khan that we haven't seen before, but Noor-Rashid is now really looking like the mirror image of Rashid Khan. He is beating batters who are defending. It looks like players aren't reading him.
Yeah, tough to read, and the ball wasn't moving a hell of a lot, but just enough. He was just getting enough of that spin, attacking the stumps as well. Didn't have the exact same control as Rashid, but enough control. And the dual threat from either end, we spoke about them last game as well. And I think, he's in a good stage at the moment where the team's on top. He's got the confidence to just let it go and bowl aggressively.
Is there anything in particular that you observed on how batters should be playing Noor-Rashid versus how they are playing him? If you're getting bad wickets while defending, you'd be very happy as a bowler.
Look, I mean, one thing what we observed today, both of them bowling in tandem, it was a great display of spin bowling. There's no doubt about it. They were quicker in the air, off the pitch, also quick. So there was hardly any time for the batters to adjust. But one thing what I noticed was the moment they got in line with the ball, they were LBW. The moment they gave themselves a little bit of room, they left too much room for that ball to turn and take the off stump down. So I guess, it was just a question of bad application. Bad reading of the hand. I think Riyan Parag getting out in that fashion to that googly, and it was clever thinking from Rashid Khan. He changed the pattern when Ashwin was batting. He didn't bowl a single googly to him. Bowled all 3 balls leg spin, and then when Riyan Parag came in, he bowled all googlies to him. So clever thinking, subtle changes.
Well, brilliant from Rashid Khan. Nothing that we haven't seen before, and who knows, we may be watching the next Rashid Khan while the current Rashid Khan is still at his peak. All for a chat that should result in, you could think, a fairly straightforward win for the Titans, unless we're in for a surprise. We have seen some bizarre results. 130 being defended, 125 being defended. Surely not 118. Titans should do this, even though they messed up against Delhi last game.
how many times this IPL we've come back in at the end of the game and been red-faced because of our predictions. But I'm not. No, that's not happening. I think Gujarat are going to get.
Shaun.
Gujarat are going to get these in a canter.
Yeah, at a canter, you think, or will it be challenging because there's something in the surface?
No, there's nothing in the surface.
All right,
To be honest.
awesome. All right, let's hope for a nice, straightforward game. I wouldn't mind a close one, but it looks unlikely. Titans look good to consolidate their position at the top. Big thank you to Amol, Muzumdar and Shaun Tait. We pick up the chat and perhaps have a more detailed discussion on the Rajasthan Royals. Remember, this is a team that's lost 1 out of their last 5. That'll now be 1 out of 6. So the wheels seem to be coming off for the Royals. It'll make for an interesting chat about what their season could look like going into the last few games. And it looks like the Titans have a game to lose here. Download the ESPNcricinfo mobile app. It'll have you covered for that chase as well as everything that's happening from the world of cricket. Lots of big news from the Indian camp too ahead of the WTC final. So make sure you get yourself updated. We'll see you at the end of the game on Visit Saudi Presents ESPNcricinfo T20 Time Out.